Hello, welcome to my channel. And yeah, so the last off and on, I would say the last few days, especially the last day or so, I've been really thinking about doing and feeling into a if you want to call it like counterpart or divine union template reading, energy check-in. Yeah, so let's see. I'm just sitting for a moment to open up it's like the chest area. I don't know, as soon as I tune in, the chest area feels a little bit tight. Okay. So yesterday or the day before, I was with a friend. She was looking for a new car in a lot. So I was just sort of in the sun walking around while she was in the financing office. And the song from Starting Line, which it's funny because I thought it was Yellow Card because it's been so many years. But it was Starting Line, Best of Me, like popped in my head, out of the clear blue. I have not heard that song. I forgot that song existed, to be quite honest. And I heard it so clearly. You can have the best of me, but we're still young. And then there was something about next time I'm in town, I'm going to kiss you, girl. You can look at the lyrics. There's another part that stood out. The worst is over. You can have the best of me. Yeah, so a few things from that. The worst is over. The best of me, and then we're still young. So a lot of times what I've found with these counterpart type of dynamics, there can be this, difference in whether it's an age difference. They tend to be very non-linear. It doesn't always seem to be the traditional meet cute bubble phase, what everyone says about traditional relationships. Get married, have kids, then do this, then do that. These seem to be quite breaking societal norms, and age gap can be one of them, or age in general, maybe you're older than what normally happens. I'm having a really hard time getting out these words. Yeah, so that chest tightness I was feeling, it feels like now there's an opening and it's moving into the throat, but then I'm a bit tongue-tied, and I also just started to feel a bit of brain fog. I wrote a few things down. Oh yeah, so when I went to look up the lyrics for that song, Best of Me from Starting Line, there were 444 views or something, and I had been seeing a lot of 444, so yeah, you can be really heavily relying on I heard energetic protection right now, or feeling called to protect, shield your energy. There's also I just got a text, so yeah, you could be getting a text soon. I usually turn my sound off, so my apologies, but I'm pausing because I wanted to look for something. Okay. Yeah, okay, so I know this is starting off quite slow, which I feel like, I'm seeing like Knight of Pentacles. Like, I could feel like you have sort of been like slow and steady, slow and steady type of energy. I just got like so hot in the back of my chest, actually, like in the back of the heart. So to me, that really feels like there's a okay. Yeah, like an I want to say like a burning up of something. And especially in the back of the heart, I was seeing like these my throat is like again. I was seeing like these almost like, and like 444, the angelic connection, like this, and I'm getting tingles on the top of my crown, this like angelic etheric wing symbolism coming online. And then the caduceus keeps popping in my mind. So like the idea of, let's say, the Kundalini energy, the third energy, so of you and this counterpart. And, you know, if it's not a person, it could be something within yourself as well. It's like moving through the body, like it's, you know, the slow and steady has been like moving through, and you could have been getting some like, you and or this person you're connected to, like back pain in the center, like kind of in the back between the shoulder blades, like maybe a little to the right for some people, a little to the left, a little higher up, but in that vicinity, there could be some like pain, or someone might have a birthmark or a scar. Like there's something about that area, and that heat that I was feeling, like pulling in, it's like starting to break open. Yeah, oh my God, I feel it so strongly. Wow. Particularly to the left of the spine, in the back, on the back, like under the shoulder. But that's very specific. And when I was in the parking lot, after I heard that song, I was walking around, and I kept seeing sixes too. So the Lovers in tarot could be an archetype that has been showing up for you. Which traditionally the Lovers represent some sort of choice, or like I'm hearing in my head like matters of the heart. But I'm not really getting a choice energy per se with this, at least not like a traditional, like it doesn't have to be a choice between like you and another person. It more feels like a lifestyle kind of choice, or like limiting beliefs, like choosing not to live in these like ancestral pattern limiting belief type of things anymore. Yeah. Oh, and as I'm saying that, this, like, it's almost like a calcified, dense ball that I'm feeling in that spot I was speaking of on my back next to the spine. Whew, it's like literally pulsating. This is so crazy. Okay, so let me just like tune into that a little bit deeper. And as I said that, I don't know if you could hear my voice is like cracking a bit. Okay, so earlier I was just kind of staring off. Sometimes I do that. And yeah, when I was saying burning up, you may be seeing like 12/12, 12/21, burning of the ashes, phoenix vibes type of thing. I wrote down 15, 16, 46. So any of those numbers could be relevant for someone. And wheel, but 15, 16 is like a progression. And then 6 and 4 is 10. And I just realized 10 is the number in tarot, the Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, there's something like karmically that has, you know, continued to be wrapped up recently, which is turning this wheel. And this is really interesting. I had a conversation the other day with someone, and he said something about wanting to like just live life already. Like he wants to live life. Like I guess he didn't say this, but it felt like he was implying that he hadn't been able to live life that much lately. And in his mind, in order to do that, he needs to quit his job. He was like, I want to quit my job so I can live life. Now, really interestingly, I listened to a reading from someone else, and she said those exact words, that the masculine polarity is focusing on like what it would be like to like live life. So yeah, that could be coming up as well. Like the masculine polarity of this collective that I'm tuning into is sort of stepping into, it almost feels like, my head just went in the clouds, like allowing themselves to daydream more. Not that, maybe I'm not saying that correctly. It's not that the daydreams weren't there. It's more like allowing themselves to actually believe that these daydreams could not just be daydreams, but like, visualizations of what could possibly actually exist or be co-created, So I just heard like a call for tenderness. So there could be a call. Oh my God, my throat. Whoever, this is the second time I'm recording today, and I usually have music on or something in the background, like a subliminal, and I didn't. I've been like really feeling the art of silence today. I didn't mean to say art, but that just came out. The art of silence. So you could also be feeling called to just, this came through the Patreon overflow that I did today too, like tuning into what you're being kind of pulled towards next, which can look like being back in the void energy, the dark feminine archetypes, the womb of creation, the 0 point. There's something like, so, for so long, I feel like a lot of us have been talking about these karmic loops and ancestral patterns that have been being realized and recognized and felt and processed. And it's not that like that's over forever. It feels like this cycle, and this has been coming through a lot, but today especially is like, let's say you're someone who likes to utilize subliminals or, frequency music, whatever it is. It's like whatever you've been focusing on, even if it's like multiple things, you may not feel drawn to those particular same tracks or videos anymore, or however you listen to these things, because it's like that has been essentially integrated. So you may be called to like silence and or preparing for whatever is coming in next, if that makes sense. And this could apply to like foods, music. I heard career choice. That's a big one, but yeah, for sure. So things like this could be, so you may be like losing interest in past things. And it will be different for everyone. Like it may just be one or two things for some people. It may be like multiple things for other people. There's no wrong or right here in that. I'm hearing an ambulance in the background, and whenever I hear them, I always send love, of course. And there was a reminder about, and this came through a different transmission in the last few weeks. I actually took a break the last few days from when I started this transmission. So yeah, right after I paused the audio, my mom actually called me, and I was just talking about Kundalini, and she asked me, she couldn't pronounce the word, she's funny, but she said, Jess, what is Kundalini? I don't know what she called it. And I was like, Kundalini? And she was like, yeah, that. So we started talking about it, and I had, just a little bit of tuning in for her. And so I just wanted to bring that up because I kept feeling off and on for a few weeks, especially, the idea of like shedding of skin, and I'm going to say a Kundalini movement. And so like wherever, you are, there seems to be the next phase of activation, awakening, whatever you would like to label it as. And I wanted to sort of just talk about that for a little bit, because a lot of these type of paths of when you feel like you're on sort of like the union path, inner union. Oh, releasing. That's good stuff. So when you feel like you're on this path of union, I'm just going to say, which always starts within the self, is what I feel and believe. Kundalini seems to be something that comes up for a lot of people, and I know that there's quite a bit of, the idea of like warning. There's a lot of warning around it, which I do feel like it's something that does require some sort of responsibility, and I was saying to my mom, and I've talked about this before, I remember reading like traditionally in Vedic teachings, I believe there's the age of 40 and above is when it is said the body is supposed to then hit the stage of Kundalini awakening. And from my experiences, I had my first conscious, spontaneous Kundalini awakening in 2018 or 2019. And I've had a few experiences since then as well. And yeah, I just wanted to share this a little bit. I mean, if anyone is interested, I'll probably actually do an overflow Patreon with a deeper dive into Kundalini. I have a transmission on my list on my YouTube channel, Awakening Sleeping DNA. And yeah, I really do feel like the Kundalini that is, it's stored in the base of the spine and dormant until, there's an awakening, right? So as my nose just started to really burn and itch, lots of I'm hearing energy currents. Yeah, I was getting a lot about electricity. I started to get the song in my head today, Electric Love from Borns. So there could be a message in there, but there's this electric energy that has been really pumping in. I just heard pumping in. I would not normally say that. And interestingly, I've been talking a lot about the lymphatic system and just really focusing on the lymphatic system, I should say, and doing some more research into it. And if you're familiar, they say that the lymph system doesn't have a pump like the heart does, so it needs a bit more movement and attention and a little bit of assistance to get the lymph system to flow and drain. And the heart has been coming up very much so, and the crystalline energy, the crystalline unconditional love template. I actually was guided to put music on this time, and this one is, wow, so much releasing through the throat. Raise your frequency to the highest level while you sleep with this heart chakra activation, 432 hertz. Yeah, and when I first started this recording, the back of my heart, that area was so much was going on. Anyway, so I wanted to tune in a little bit deeper. I have the Ascension Glossary, which I read from a lot in Lisa Renee's Ascension Glossary in the Overflow on Patreon, but I did want to read a little bit about the Kundalini and the idea of, so when I made that video, Awakening Sleeping DNA, I was actually guided to put like a kind of golden caduceus as the thumbnail. Also, this is like mirroring the movement of Kundalini on the planet, which I'll probably get more into that on Patreon as well. But I'm just going to read a little bit from the Ascension Glossary and Kundalini. I will link this in the description box in case you would like to go deeper or read along. In our Ascension model, we recognize and work with 15 waves of the spectrum of frequency that correlate directly with the universal rays, dimensions of time, and how our individual energy centers, also referred to as chakra systems, are connected to those dimensions of time that exist in the multidimensional universe. The first 9 layers of the spectrum of frequency can also be called Kundalini currents, which include the levels of the lower particle currents that make up the physical matter worlds. Now, I know a lot of the phrase this week has been coming up a lot that like nothing is truly physical, everything is energy. So what we identify as, physical matter, I will just sort of add that in. Above the 9 dimensions are the antiparticle dimensions, which are the blueprint forms of liquid plasma light or hydroplasmic currents. The amount of energy stored in the personal Kundalini current is the capacity of the genetic code to hold the higher consciousness energy. The soul and spiritual energies that cannot integrate into the DNA to be activated will be stored in the Kundalini center that is located in the base of the spine. I just wanted to share that, and as I said that, I tilted my head back and felt my throat just opening up. I can't remember the name, but I'm seeing Bikram or hot yoga. Maybe someone here is teaching, being called to go again. Maybe you are going, or maybe you're just doing some of the moves at home. There's something about that, but I forget what it's called, but it's when you tilt your head back, the one pose, and you just nostril breathe and open up your elbows. I don't know why, but I'm seeing that really specifically, so that could be helpful for someone. Or you might already be doing it, like I said. I was scanning through and I just wanted to see if there was anything else that wanted to be read and about the Kundalini. Oh, I wanted to go back also because I was saying that, in some Vedic traditions, at least from what I've read, and I was talking about the mature age of Kundalini in alignment with the Vedic teachings that, it's not supposed to really happen until age 40 something. And I was saying that, I had a spontaneous experience I guess in my late 20s. And so with a lot of these current times, at least this time space, there seems to be I'm pausing. I just want to make sure my right eye just started to almost like a burning sensation, but it doesn't, not like in a scary way. It's just I started to feel sensations coming through the right eye. I just heard laser. I think that's from, what movie is that from? If anyone remembers, please share, but I can't remember where it's from. Maybe Austin Powers. I don't know. I just heard that so clearly. Laser. Yeah, it feels like my eye was just like shooting laser beams. But there could be this like when these spontaneous experiences happen, whether it's a Kundalini activation, a astral or out of body experience, like these different spiritual phenomenon that occur at this time. It feels like there's many of us who are here again, or maybe for the first time, whatever, going through this remembrance or reawakening. So it's not necessarily following the what we may call the traditional esoterica in terms of like what has been done before. And I'm really careful about this because I never want to encourage someone to do something before their time or to force anything, not at all. But I'm saying if you're someone who is maybe out of the, and I was talking about this in the beginning, like with a relationship, you know, being with age gaps and these different societal norms being challenged. Like, again, it can be these inner union societal norms too, like, or traditional esoteric paths, like not having a Kundalini awakening until after 40 years old. Well, you know, mine happened, and I've had multiple experiences surrounding that, that may not be in the traditional sense. And so if you're listening to this, you may also be going through or experiencing things like this. So that's just an example. But yeah, there was another sentence I wanted to read. And mind you, a lot of this material that I read from, I believe was written in around 2012, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's like always being edited and stuff, but I don't remember the origination. But some of this I think is from that time. So I do often do my best with whatever sources that I'm reading from or getting information to try and also tune into the current energy to bring through, you know, any, I heard nomenclature. 747, that number kept coming up. 47, of course, 47 breaks down to 11. So maybe sieving. I meant to say seeing, but receiving, deceiving. We'll come back to that. 1111, 111. I know we just had what everyone was calling the 111 portal from 111 to 1. I'm confusing myself. The 1st of January until the 11th of January. I started recording this on Thursday, and today is Monday, the 12th. So I suppose that was the 8th. I don't know. Some of these dates could be relevant for someone whenever you're finding this, but I know today's the 13th. Anyway, it is a full moon. Ooh, my ears just frequency shifted. I also kept feeling like I'm seeing a cat. You know, you can see like phantom energy sometimes, or some of you may be experiencing that, where you're seeing things. It's like the phantom energy is the best way I could describe it. It's like you're seeing like almost like an outline of something, but it's not physically in front of you. And I felt like I kept seeing like a cat on a counter. So that could be for someone. Cats, yeah, so I'm seeing like, you know, it could be connected to a familiar. It could be a future energy. Maybe someone's thinking about getting a cat, or a cat might just show up. You might like see a stray around. Like there's something about also like the mystery and the magic that cats, especially black cats, or, you know, ancient Egypt, the reverence of cats in Egypt for some reason is coming up. Lyran energy, Cassiopeia. Some of this is coming through. Sirius. I was really drawn to the idea of the antiparticle dimensions, the blueprint forms of liquid plasma light or hydroplasmic currents. That's been coming through a lot lately, and I think I was just talking about this on my last upload on Patreon, about the plasma. And so, yeah, I will, like I said, go deeper with that. But there is this idea of feeling into the unseen. I just heard all shocking. So whoever I'm tuning into, things feel like they're starting to sort of show up more. Like maybe you're feeling like you're having more clarity. Maybe you just feel like you're more in alignment. Or this could be coming soon, but it does feel like there's like an emotional, today as I'm recording this, it's a full moon in Cancer, which they say Cancer, basically the full moon of emotions. So there could be a swinging of the pendulum with emotions. But I'm also feeling like a happiness too, like almost like happy tears, emotional happy tears. But it feels like it comes in bursts. So like, I don't know, let's say on a Wednesday, you're just like feeling so grateful and like tear up. And then like maybe 2 weeks later, something else happens. It's like different areas of your life are bringing through these happy tears. And that's not to say you may not have moments of releasing and other things too. In fact, the shedding that I was talking about, like the snake symbolism has been heavy lately. So you may be experiencing that. I'm seeing snakes, pythons, but the idea of shedding, releasing. For some of you, you might even be feeling like your skin. I don't. If I said this in the beginning, I can't remember if I said it. But you your scalp. Like maybe someone here is having a little bit of like dry scalp and some flaking, or it could be like on your cheek. There could be these little like dry patches on your body that's like literally like flaking off. I don't mean to laugh at you. I'm laughing because there's so many sirens right now. Actually, before I did this reading all day, I kept seeing 77777. Wow, the White Light Oracle from Alana Fairchild has just been coming through so heavy. But there's a card, the 7 Blessings of Eve, I believe it's called. I'm going to Google that. Okay, I found someone who posted it. Yeah, that's what it's called, 7 Blessings of Eve. This oracle indicates a shift away from shame and confusion. Shame. I believe I was talking about this in the Pleasure Pulse transmission. And that theme has definitely been coming through. Guilt, shame, hips, opening hip openers. Maybe you're someone who's been working on your hips for a long time and you're feeling a difference, or maybe you're being called to. It'll be different for everyone, but they say like guilt and shame is stored in the hips. Yeah. Perhaps you have something to prove, or that you are not enough, or that you have to atone for a failing in this or other lifetimes. Instead, your soul is moving you toward a realization of the inherent goodness and grace that is your real nature. You are blessed. You are granted a unique, unrepeatable human life. If you believe in reincarnation, acknowledging the soul continues to grow over many lifetimes, there will only be one lifetime when you are this you. If you treasure life, you will become bolder, more fearless, more willing to step up as your real self, more willing to engage in healing and say yes to what makes your heart sing. There's that heart energy. I don't know, I just love her deck. And it's, yeah, of course, the number 7 card. So butterflies can be significant, specifically orange. Ancestor visits, I was talking about that phantom energy, familiars, animals, but ancestor visits have the last few days been feeling really potent. So you may be having like dreams of ancestors. It could be, passed on loved ones. It could be someone in down your lineage that you never met, other versions of yourself in other lifetimes, future kin or future kin. Is that right? I don't think that's right. Future, it doesn't have to be just like from one, like it can be like a father, a mother, a grandfather, but it can be future as well. But it feels, I just saw 222 on the timer. Yeah. Harmony, restoration, balance, rejuvenation. There's something about like the ancestor presence of assisting in this process. And I just realized the 7 blessings of Eve, there's like a giant snake. You can Google it if you like, on the card. I didn't even realize that right away, with an egg. There's like a symbol of an egg. Also, if you are a menstruating woman, I'm hearing to check in, if you aren't already, with when you're ovulating. My ovulations have been so intense the last few months, particularly this month and last month. So there could be something significant about ovulation, but I heard in my head left, but then I felt something on my right side. So, it like alternates from each ovary, but there's something about also, just fertility. It doesn't have to be necessarily around conceiving, but just the idea of fertility energy, birthing a new version of yourself. It seems to be really strong. I just felt a tickle on my crown again. So working with, if you feel someone who is called to work with Kundalini, and you may already be doing this, or just a practice that can really be helpful right now, I'm hearing, is to just sort of like moving your body like a snake, your spine, side to side, forward and backward, and just utilizing visualization and frequency music to move the energy, not only up and down the spine, but like behind the spine, almost like, how the caduceus waves through the spine, sort of like this, up to the crown. And depending how tuned in you are to your energy body, there's no right or wrong, of course, it's just where you are. If you feel like you are, root to crown, and that's what you feel comfortable with. But if you're someone who's sort of tuned into through the different layers of the subtle body, I'm seeing like the soul star, the causal, through the layers of essentially like the antiparticle that was coming through, like up through the monadic, down through the avatar consciousness. There's different layers that are being worked through, if you will. And the next octave. So again, it will be different for everyone. You may be working through your octave of Kundalini activation into the next octave. And then some of you maybe actually who've already been experienced with this be sort of tuning into the antiparticle blueprints, the plasma energy, essentially like into the 15 spectrum frequency that I was reading about in the beginning. So yeah, please just like use your discernment of where you are, and you don't even have to like logically figure it out. You can just sort of tune in and do this practice of what I was mentioning, and like see where you feel you're being taken to. Okay. And if anyone like has something to say or share, any questions, like please feel free to do that. Okay, I wanted to sort of come back to the archetype, the magician, has been coming through the last few days. Merlin. Yeah, so like the idea of really stepping more in. Whew, I just got chills on my left hand and the middle finger, the ether element. Each finger can represent an element, if you're not familiar, and the middle finger, the ether finger, was highlighted. Shekinah. I just heard Shekinah in my head, which I believe is another, so Shekinah, in Jewish mysticism plays an important role, but I was also seeing the card in the White Light Oracle. Yes, and it is a card, because like I said, I haven't seen this deck in a really long time. But I'm going to read from this too. Shekinah, White Light Oracle. You have a light within you. Trust in that light and in your own courage. The light is strong enough to guide, support, and empower you to fulfill your sacred purpose of healing and soulful manifestation. So as I was talking about, like Merlin, the magician, and then you have the feminine essence of the Shekinah, which I believe they say is like the first emanation of light. So I'm hearing something like primordial, like something that feels just ancient and transcending time, you know. Also, I was recording the other day, and I was talking about, maybe this was a few weeks ago, it might have been the Pleasure Pulse transmission, and I was talking about the moon cycle, and if you're someone who has menstruation, something about the moon cycle and our own cycles. And then literally right as I finished that, I probably recorded for, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes, an hour. I went to the bathroom immediately, and I had started my moon cycle, and I think it was a little bit early. And someone just messaged me about their moon cycle starting today on the full moon. So yeah, there could be really something about that. And they say like stem cells in period blood, and how I was talking about that as well. So it's coming up again. Maybe someone here utilizes their moon blood for different rituals, or their plants, their face, different things. Yeah, so there's something about, or maybe that's something you've been curious about. Also, you may be having some, like, I believe I talked about this recently, nostalgia coming up, or past relationships, romantic, platonic, sort of peeking its head back in different ways, like almost like a little trip down memory lane kind of thing. And actually, I had a dream of an ex-boyfriend recently, and in the dream, I don't know if I'm being called to share this, but I remember all of a sudden it was like we were walking somewhere at night, and I was like, oh, like we're not going to be together much longer. Like this is short-lived. Like I knew that in the dream, which in this reality it was short-lived. And it was like I was showing myself, I like knew in the dream I had this moment where like I stepped, and I've been having a lot of dreams like this, where I stepped into like a parallel version of myself was visiting a different timeline to let myself know like what was going on, and like basically to trust what I was feeling and not be scared. And I said to him in the dream, like, oh, you are going to get married one day, just so you know. And he looked at me like, what? And like it was like I stepped into myself, and I was telling myself like, okay, this is a different version of you. You already know. Yeah, this is not like your end all be all person, but like enjoy it while it lasts kind of thing. It's important, but it's not what you think it is right now, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, I just got tingles and my left hand started to tingle. So yeah, there could be, this is also really, sometimes I'll like, someone sent me a photo of myself from like, I don't even know, maybe 10 years ago. And I was in the photo, I was at a ski resort. Now I've only skied like twice in my life. Maybe 2 or 3 times. And I didn't ski for the first time until I was like 27 or something. And so there's something about skiing kept coming up over and over. Like 4 or 5 times that week, skiing was mentioned. And then my friend out of the blue sends me pictures of me skiing, which again, I only skied like once or twice. So it's really weird. So I don't know how skiing could be relevant, but there's something about that. Of course, symbolically, skiing, slopes and hills, obstacles. But Ganesha has also been coming through a lot. So remover of obstacles, transcending obstacles, uphill battle I'm hearing. And so a lot of us, I feel like, have sort of been really going through this, what I was talking about this the other day, like this Saturn, these lessons of Saturn, Father Time, essentially like the transit of that we just went into Pluto and Aquarius. I totally spaced out for a second. I think it's Pluto. Now I'm doubting myself, but yeah, Pluto was in Capricorn, moved to Aquarius. Don't quote me on that. If anyone knows, please confirm that. But yeah, and that transit was like really intense for a lot of people, especially if you have heavy Saturn ruler or Capricorn in your chart, but it doesn't have to be. But they say like when you embody or you transcend the obstacles of Saturn, or the lessons of Saturn, I should say, it's like long-lasting fruits of your labor coming in. It may take longer and feel pretty arduous, but so there's something about that transit that is lightening up for a lot of people that feel connected to this. And for the union timelines and templates, it does feel like there's been this, shift and release in the energy. I just heard Artemis and Athena, so those 2 archetypes can be coming through. Oh, interesting. Artemis, the goddess of wild animals, the hunt and vegetation, and of chastity and childbirth. My friend just had a dream of me being pregnant like 2 nights ago, and I was talking about like birthing another version of yourself. And I just keep hearing the word like safe, like a feeling safe version of yourself. Like maybe this will be what you're stepping into, like the most safe in your body that you felt And again, if you're not there yet, I do feel like this is opening up for you. Okay, she was identified by the Romans with Diana, daughter of Zeus, and Leto, and the twin sister of Apollo. Now, Athena, for me, always comes in the form of hearing an owl. So I've been hearing owls like so much the last few days, and Athena has been coming through really strongly, associated with wisdom, warfare, and handicraft. Oh yeah, okay, so one of her symbols, owls, olive trees, snakes, we were just talking about snakes, and the Gorgonian. I was talking about gargoyles the other day, briefly, which is so funny to me. I always forget. They pop up every once in a while. This can be really specific, but if someone here is feeling like you're starting to tap more into collective energy, like maybe you've been feeling it come online for a bit, but now it's starting to intensify. I was talking the other day when I posted something on YouTube and Instagram about dreams. Like, you may either be needing really deep sleep and having moments of not remembering your dreams at all, and then all of a sudden having like really intense dreams. There's something about filtering the collective through your astral body, through your dream state. So if dreams are really intense, there could just be this collective release coming through, and those of us who are tuned in are like passing it through the astral realm. Interesting. So yeah, there's something about, I remember when this first started happening, when I was hearing different things from different people, and I was like, oh my God, am I supposed to go up and like tell someone this thing, you know? So if you're someone who's sort of like just increasingly expanding in terms of collective feeling, I'm hearing, I don't know if you can hear an ambulance going by. I just got so thirsty. So really connecting with water, you know what they say, staying grounded, working on presence, breath. And it will be different for each of you. So yeah, that would be like a whole separate, I could do like a whole separate transmission on that. So if anyone is curious or would like to go deeper with that, please feel free to let me know that. Whew. I've been really into this rose tulsi tea. So either of those things could be calling you right now. I just took a sip of that. Okay, let's see. Okay, we also just had nodal shifts. So, and it's funny because I kept feeling the word destiny. And then I was guided to look at the etymology, or someone was talking about the etymology of the word weird and how it actually etymologically comes back to destiny. So if someone is like, oh, you're so weird, it's like you're actually in alignment with your destiny, essentially. Let me just look it up again because I don't want to misinterpret. Or moving towards that. Or maybe you're someone who believes in that. Okay. Old English weird, W-Y-R-D, destiny of Germanic origin, meant having the power to control destiny, and was used especially in the Weird Sisters, originally referring to the fates. Yeah, so the 3 fates could be coming through. Later, the witches in Shakespeare's Macbeth. The latter use gave rise to the sense unearthly. Interesting. I feel like Shakespeare has been coming up quite a bit lately. You may be seeing 144. I just heard that saying, what's the 411? Someone just texted me if I wanted to go to the beach, which it's almost 8 p.m. here, and I love the beach at night. So you could be getting like a last minute, like impromptu invitation to like to go somewhere like at a time where you wouldn't expect. That's fun. Oh, another phrase that keeps coming up recently, to dream the impossible dream. And there was this whole quote someone texted me recently about, and then I kept hearing that, to dream the impossible dream, from like multiple other people that week. So that could be coming through for someone. And again, that masculine collective polarity of like dreaming the impossible dream. And that's all I'm hearing. ... To be continued. There could be breakthroughs in conversations that are, it's almost like it happens when you're in the middle path has been coming up. And again, these nodal shifts. So when I kept hearing destiny, like that kept coming up. And then I was watching someone and they were like, oh, yeah, we were having these big nodal shifts. And I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Like I was feeling that intuitively in other ways. So a lot of us feel like, if you will, the next octave of consciousness is coming through. So an expansion there. And in the overflow, I'll probably get into more of like the quantic science perspective of some of the like dimensional expansions of consciousness. Another thing that has been coming through, how to work smarter and not harder energetically. So it's like that magician energy of like attuning your energetic field into a more like self-propelling, I'm seeing like a spiral flow of energy. So it's working smarter, not harder, in your physical life as well as energetically. So if you're interested in that, I was thinking of maybe doing a transmission focusing on that as well. Also, I was by the kitchen the other day, the kitchen sink, and my ears just like, I had such a high frequency pitch come in. Like it's been a while since I've had, this happens all the time, but it's been a while since it was so intense that I had to like double over. Sometimes it's like, whoa. So that, again, that next octave of Kundalini, the next octave of like a veil sort of falling through. I didn't mean to say falling through. So maybe a plan is about to fall through, and at first you might feel a little disheartened, I'm hearing, but just trust there's redirection there, because I didn't even mean to say that. And I went into the bathroom, and it was very dark in the bathroom, and I saw this like violet light sort of come down, and it was off center to like a white auric outline of someone sitting Indian style, and then all of a sudden it started to align like right from the top of the crown. So this ultraviolet ray of light, working with transmutation, the ultraviolet fire angels I'm hearing. I know Steve, I forget his last name. There's someone on YouTube who does these transmissions. Wow, his name just flew right out of my head. So, but yeah, in general, just working with that energy. Realignment of the Merkaba is coming through. I was talking about this as well in the last Patreon overflow. Oh, and the song from the Pussycat Dolls keeps coming through my head. Stick with You, I think it's called. The way that's spelled is so funny. It's like literally like stick with you. So there may be messages in those lyrics as well. Goddess pose, that has also been really helpful lately, and I believe that's also a hip opener, like I was talking about earlier. There's a Sanskrit name that I can't remember at this moment, but I just looked it up the other day. But yeah, in Kundalini, I know they call it goddess pose, so that could be helpful for someone. I did a lunar and solar check-in not long ago. There might be messages in there if you were drawn to that on YouTube. Yeah, it does feel like there are some new opportunities being magnetized to you. And I know that right now, really staying with that idea of the middle path has been coming through really strongly. So really allowing yourself to balance any, sometimes we have those feelings of like mania or like just really off kilter emotional states. And there's something about continuing to come back to the middle path. Anytime you're feeling the need to like maybe start to do a little bit of older behaviors like micromanaging, etc., etc. If that feels out of alignment for you, to really just, again, breathing is coming through, looking through the mind's eye and coming within, to just sort of balance your inner dreamscape. I didn't mean to say that, but interesting. I feel like there's so much more, but I think I'm actually going to leave it here. If you feel called to join me in Patreon, then I will see you there. Thank you.